Al Capone is possibly the most famous mafia gangster. I mean, you've all seen Scarface, right? We're all still fascinated with Al Capone, even though he died nearly 80 years ago. And his ghost seems to linger. I mean that not only as a metaphor, but also there are a lot of alleged sightings of Al Capone's ghost in places where he used to frequent. Let's get spooky. Hey, spooky people, it's your best friend Kenny here. And before we get into this video, let's make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, The Spooky Lawyer. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. It's right there. While you're hitting the subscribe button, or if you've already hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button as well, because that'll help out this video in the algorithm. And make sure you share this video. You know, there's a little share button. You can click share and you can share it on your social media, and that would be great. But you could also share this video by writing out, the Spooky Lawyer URL onto bar napkins and just slip them to people. Say, hey, I got a surprise for you. See what happens. It would help me out a lot. I would appreciate it. Al Capone's life was a blend of extravagant living and brutal violence that seems like it could only have happened in a movie. He was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1899 to Italian immigrants, and his early life was far from the world of mafia and organized crime. As a child, he worked as a candy store clerk, a bowling alley pin boy, which is a job that I guess doesn't exist anymore. Think about all those pin boys that are gone now. And even a laborer at an ammunition plant. However, he soon fell into the clutches of kid games, engaging in vandalism and petty crime. You know what they say? Vandalism, tagging, graffiti. Next thing you know, you're in charge of a full-on mafia outfit. It's a slippery slope. As a teenager, he joined the 5 Points gang, and he worked as a bouncer in brothels, helping him hone his skills in being violent and ruthless. Yeah, those were his skills: violence, ruthlessness, criming. Capone's rise in the mafia began during the Prohibition era when he became a key player in the Chicago outfit. He controlled a vast criminal empire in Chicago, amassing a fortune through bootlegging, gambling, and prostitution. His wealth in 1927 is estimated to be close to $100 million, which is crazy for that time period. Yet, he attempted to maintain a carefully crafted public image and would even donate to charities and help out his community. Al Capone was either directly or indirectly responsible for over 200 murders. And the turf wars between rival Chicago mafia gangs during his reign resulted in approximately 700 gang-related deaths. He was known to eliminate his rivals in cold and calculating ways, as seen in the murder of Joe Howard in 1924 and his attempted assassination of prosecutor William McSwiggan in 1926. McSwiggan is a pretty great Irish last name. A notorious example of his brutality was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929, where 7 members of Bugs Moran's gang were mercilessly gunned down. Of course, it wasn't his crimes, it wasn't his violent crimes that brought Capone down. In 1931, he was charged with tax evasion, a crime that ultimately led to his imprisonment, and he was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. He served time in the Atlanta Penitentiary and Alcatraz. While in Alcatraz, his health began deteriorating due to neurosyphilis, a condition that he may have contracted during his earlier years frequenting brothels. Be safe, folks. Wrap it up. Now, there's been some controversy of whether he really had syphilis or some other disorder, but his health deteriorated, and when he was released, he spent his final years in Palm Island, Florida, where he died in 1947 at the age of 48 years old. It's not very old. There are numerous reports of people seeing or sensing Al Capone's spirit or ghost in places that he frequented. People claim that his ghost surfaces in places intimately connected to his life and crime. He's often described as a shadowy figure, sometimes accompanied by the smell of cigar smoke or the faint sound of a banjo. Some witnesses claim to have seen him going from room to room in certain areas, as if he was inspecting places. His ghost has been reported to frequent Mount Carmel Cemetery in Hillside, Illinois. You'll recall I previously did a video on Mount Carmel Cemetery's Showman's Rest, which is another supernatural or paranormal area of the cemetery, but supposedly Al Capone's ghost has been seen frequenting this area, specifically appearing before individuals who are disrespectful to his gravesite. There's also been reports of paranormal activity at the site of the Valentine's Day Massacre. Many believe that the site retains a psychic imprint due to the violent deaths of the 7 men who were killed in the area. People have reported hearing the sounds of gunshots, moaning, men falling, and cigar smoke at the site of the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. The owner of the building also reported the site as having poltergeist activity, including objects flying off counters and shelves. Supposedly, dogs react very strongly when passing the site, possibly sensing the negative energy or paranormal activity or ghosts in the area. One of Capone's most famous haunts, the Lexington Hotel in Chicago, has had numerous reports of Al Capone's ghost as well, and it was a popular part of the hotel's lore. The Lexington Hotel in Chicago was referred to as Capone's headquarters. The hotel, which is located at 2132 South Michigan Avenue in Chicago, or was located there, served as Al Capone's headquarters during the Prohibition era, specifically from the late 1920s into the early 1930s. Capone had a lavish 5-room suite on the hotel's 8th floor, which he referred to as his command center. The suite was equipped with bulletproof windows and secret passageways, reflecting, the type of security he needed in the area. I wonder how the Lexington Hotel reacted when Capone was like, hey, I need you guys to put some bulletproof windows and secret passageways in this hotel. Or do you think those were just there and that's why Capone chose it? I don't know. I don't know why a hotel would have bulletproof windows, though. Capone chose the Lexington Hotel because of its strategic location for Capone's operations, and it offered a discrete base of operations away from the intense scrutiny of downtown Chicago. Many visitors to the hotel over the years would have eerie feelings, reporting a general feeling of unease or a heavy presence within the hotel, particularly in the areas that were associated with Capone, like the 8th floor and the former Capone suite. Some reports describe more specific paranormal experiences, such as hearing faint whispers or disembodied voices, described as gruff or commanding sounding voices, reminiscent of Capone's persona. People would claim to smell cigar smoke, the distinct smell of cigar smoke in areas where smoking was prohibited and no cigars were present. Capone was well known to love cigars. There are reports of people seeing glimpses of shadowy figures or apparitions, specifically around the hallways and corners of the 8th floor, as well as sudden temperature drops, cold spots, especially in the former Capone suite. There have also been reports of elevators malfunctioning or stopping unexpectedly on the 8th floor, which is pretty spooky. Alcatraz prison also has a rich history of Al Capone ghost sightings. The most common ghost story associated with Al Capone at Alcatraz is the sound of banjo music emanating from the former shower room in cell block D. This shower room was located near his cell in B block, and visitors and park rangers have reported hearing the banjo music in the area, even though there was no one playing the banjo in the area. Others have said to feel his spirit in cell 181 and cell block B. Now, it's important to note that Alcatraz generally has a significant amount of paranormal activity reported within it, not just associated with Al Capone. So it's certainly possible that people who visit this area are more primed to want to see paranormal activity and sense paranormal activity. And knowing the fact that Al Capone was affiliated and was housed in this area probably makes people more likely to feel like they are sensing this type of ghost. There are other areas where Al Capone's ghost has been reported. The old Baraboo Inn in Baraboo, Wisconsin, which was a former brothel that was frequented by Capone, has had numerous reports of encounters with Capone's ghost. Also, the Maribel Caves Hotel in Maribel, Wisconsin, which was allegedly a front for Capone's bootlegging business, has had reports of Capone's ghost seen walking through the ruins. The Barabee Hotel in Wausau, Indiana, is another alleged hideout for Capone and his gang, and there has been the smell of cigar smoke and even people seeing cigar smoke coming out of some of the rooms at that hotel, which is believed to be attributed to Capone's ghost. Now, there have been numerous paranormal investigations into Capone's ghost and areas where Capone's ghost has been seen. Paranormal investigators have investigated areas where Capone's ghost is said to appear. And they come armed with EMF meters, EVP recorders, and other tools as they attempt to capture evidence of his ghost. The Congress Plaza Hotel has had numerous investigators documenting accounts of paranormal activity in that area, specifically ghosts, unexplained noises, and cold spots. There are even rooms in that hotel that have been closed off due to these occurrences. Paranormal investigators have also investigated the Green Mill Cocktail Lounge in Chicago, which is another haunt of Capone's. Again, there have been reports of spirits, apparitions, moving objects, and cold spots. Now, it's important to remember that these are anecdotal stories and that there's no actual physical evidence of Capone's ghost. But to be fair, there's also no real actual physical evidence of any ghosts. So you can sort of take all of that with a grain of salt and then take the grain of salt with a grain of salt, a smaller grain of salt, 2 grains of salt. Paranormal experiences are subjective, and there are limitations to the investigative tools to prove the existence of ghosts. The human mind is susceptible to suggestion, and in areas with a reputation for being haunted, people tend to be more likely to see or experience haunting things or hauntings. Beliefs and expectations can influence our perceptions and lead us to interpret ordinary things as paranormal activity. Knowing that a place is associated with Capone's violent past and also Capone's hauntings make people more likely to perceive his ghost. There are also possibly environmental factors at play. Certain environmental conditions can create unusual sensations like the cold spots and the uneasy feelings, and these can lead to misinterpretation. It's also possible that mistakes are related to the sightings of Capone's ghost. Misidentifications of other individuals, seeing different types of shadows, being in a dimly lit or unfamiliar environment. And it's also certainly possible that a lot of these stories are hoaxes that were fabricated for attention or to promote tourism. Al Capone's name and the public's fascination with the paranormal and Al Capone make ghost stories and mafia stories a lucrative business. If you own a hotel somewhere and you wanted to get on the map, you could just claim that you have a ghost there, and the ghost of Al Capone, having a ghost that people know, is even more exciting than having a ghost, right? These stories of Al Capone's ghost offer a glimpse into the enduring legacy of one of the most notorious criminals our world has ever seen. Whether these stories are real, whether they are influenced by environmental factors or psychology, they continue to fuel the legend of Al Capone, making sure that his name continues to live on, not just in the annals of crime, but also in the realm of the paranormal. Whether you're a believer in ghosts or a skeptic, the stories continue to resonate. They continue to be fascinating. They continue to have meaning. And they continue to build into Al Capone's legacy. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, The Spooky Lawyer. Make sure that you are following me on Blue Sky and TikTok. My username is AKBruise. Make sure that you're following me on Twitter. My username is AKBruise there as well. If there is a spooky or disturbing or a paranormal story you would like me to cover, send me an email. My email address is thespookylawyer@gmail.com. There is a super thanks button below this video that you can hit and make a donation to the channel if you would like to support the channel. Any money that this channel makes is going directly back into the channel so we can do more and exciting things. We're planning to do some trips in the summer to do some actual on-site spooky stuff. Any money donated to the channel will go to support that type of content making. I appreciate you supporting me by watching my videos and sharing my videos. Your support means a lot to me. Thank you for watching my videos. And please, stay spooky.